Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're playing doctor, but for a tech company. We're going to do a full health checkup on a software as a service business. And this financial dashboard, well, that's our diagnostic tool.
Yeah, I know. At first glance, this thing looks, well, it's intimidating, right? Kind of like a complex medical chart. But trust me, once you know what you're looking for, every single number here tells a crucial part of the story about this company's health. So let's scrub in and start decoding. All right, first things first. Before we can diagnose anything, we really need to understand our patient. So what exactly makes a SaaS business tick? What's so different about it?
It all boils down to one key idea: recurring revenue. You see, a traditional business sells you something once, and that's pretty much it. But a SaaS company, think Netflix, Spotify, you name it, they're all about getting you to subscribe and stay subscribed, month after month, year after year. And because of that, the way we measure its health is totally different. We're not just looking at one-time sales. Nope, we're zooming out and looking at the big picture. The long-term trends in growth, how loyal its customers are, and just how efficiently it's running. Okay, you ready to dive in?
Let's start by checking the company's pulse, its revenue. I mean, that's the most basic and obvious sign of life, right? And for a SaaS business, the absolute key vital sign is something called monthly recurring revenue, or MRR for short. This is that predictable, reliable income that comes in every single month from subscribers. It's really the bedrock of the whole business.
So, taking a look at our patient's chart here, wow, the pulse looks strong. You see that? A beautiful, steady climb in MRR going from about $30,000 a month all the way up to almost $40,000 by the end of the period. So, on the surface, this company looks pretty darn healthy. But you know, a strong pulse can sometimes hide some deeper problems, can't it? And any good doctor knows you have to look beyond the obvious. So let's dig a little deeper and check out the company's immune system. In other words, how good is it at keeping the customers it already has? And to do that, we need to talk about something called churn. The best way to think about it is like a leaky bucket. Churn is the rate that customers are canceling and flowing out of that bucket. Now, a tiny leak is pretty normal, but a big one? That can sink the whole ship. And okay, here's where the plot thickens. The picture gets a lot more complicated. Yeah, the overall revenue is still going up, but look closely at that chart on the right. See those red bars? That's revenue being lost from customers who are leaving. And look how much it's spiked in the last few months. Uh-oh. That's our first really worrying symptom. And you've got to ask, why is this happening all of a sudden? So to really get a handle on how bad this leak is, we need to know exactly what we're losing. What was each of those customers worth? This brings us to a super important metric, customer lifetime value, or LTV. It's basically a forecast of how much cash a single customer is expected to generate over their entire relationship with the company. And whoa, this number is just staggering. Even with that churn problem we just saw, the average customer is still worth more than $38,000 to the business. Let that sink in. This tells us that keeping customers is absolutely critical, which makes that recent spike in churn even more alarming. Okay, so what do we have? We've got a really complex case on our hands. The company is growing fast, but its immune system is showing signs of weakness. So, let's move on and check the heart of the operation. The growth engine itself. Is it actually efficient? Is it sustainable? To figure that out, we have to look at something called customer acquisition cost, or CAC. It's a fancy term for a simple question. How much money does it cost in sales and marketing to get one single new customer in the door? And the data here is actually fantastic. It only costs $300 to bring in a new customer, and it's been super consistent. That's a great sign. It means they're not having to throw more and more money at the problem just to grow. The engine is running really smoothly. All right, now for the really cool part. This is where the magic happens. We're going to put two numbers side by side, what it costs to get a customer and what that customer's ultimately worth. In the SaaS world, this is like the golden ratio. So here's a good rule of thumb. For a healthy SaaS business, you want to see at least a 3-to-1 ratio. For every dollar you spend getting a customer, you want to make at least $3 back. Makes sense, right? Well, this company gets back over $120. That's insane. We're not just talking about a healthy engine anymore. This is a world-class, high-performance machine. The core business model is just incredibly profitable. Okay, let's recap.
We've established this company has a phenomenal, absolutely killer growth engine. But, even a Ferrari is just a very expensive lawn ornament if it runs out of gas. So for our final checkup, we need to look at the fuel tank.
And in the startup world, we call this cash burn and runway. Burn is just the rate at which a company is losing money every month. And runway is how much time it has left, how many months it can survive before that cash runs out completely. And, well, here's the final major twist in our diagnosis. Take a look at that chart down at the bottom. That's the cash burn. Do you see it? Every single one of those bars is in the negative. This means that despite having this amazing, profitable business model, the company is actually losing tens of thousands of dollars in cash every single month.
So, the obvious question is, how long can they keep this up? Well, this table gives us the answer. This is their runway. And as of December, they've got just over 15 months of cash left. That's it. The clock is officially and very loudly ticking.
So our final diagnosis is in. What we have here is a patient with an incredibly strong heart, that super efficient growth engine, but it's also burning through cash at an unsustainable rate. It has a very limited amount of time to either stop the bleeding and become profitable or get a major cash infusion. And that leaves us with the million-dollar question, or maybe the multi-million-dollar question. If you were the CEO, what would you do? With a business model this powerful, do you slam on the brakes, cut costs, and try to make that cash last as long as possible? Or do you put the pedal to the metal, raise a bunch more money, and bet that this incredible engine can get you across the finish line before you run out of fuel? It's a classic startup dilemma, and there is absolutely no easy answer.